What's going on, ACU crew?
Chiefs Kingdom, what's up? Hey, that was a tough one.
The tough game.
That was a tough one. But before we get going on everything that sucked, let's say what did look decent tonight. I think the defense didn't look as horrible as I thought they were going to. Let's be honest.
No, I think the defense did enough to win the game. The offense was just hot garbage.
Yeah, the offense looked like trash. Yeah. But I will say this. 1 point loss to Detroit. I know it hurts. It's the first game of the season. You want to get the win, but you're playing without Kelsey. You're playing without your top 10, defensive tackle, top 10 player in the league. 1 point. And Mahomes had zero help. That offense was stagnant. It looked stale. It was horrible. Again, the defense played well, but a 1 point loss to a team that they're all hyping up to be the next best thing in the NFC. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it feels like it, but it's not the end of the world.
Right. I mean, it's just very annoying. Like the Chiefs gave away that game 85 times. There were so many opportunities for them to go up by 2 scores at least and just keep running with it. And the offense just could not get it together. One thing was very apparent to me, and this goes for the offense and the defense. There were 2 guys that should not have been on the field tonight. Right. 2 guys that should not have been on the field. They were out the entire camp. They were out the entire preseason, and they should not have been on the field tonight
because they looked like hot garbage.
They were both trash. Kadarius Tony, I would be fine if they would have cut him at the end of the game. Like, just go home and forget about it, dude. Because you single-handedly lost us the game by giving away a pick 6 and then dropping probably the easiest pass and catch I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Absolute trash. Another guy that shouldn't have been on the field, L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed was absolutely terrible. If I have to see another Sneed miss tackle, and people are actually talking about wanting to pay this man and keep him in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Sneed, not after today.
Look, this just proves that preseason does matter a little bit. You have to get back in the rhythm. Kadarius Tony misses the entire preseason. So does Sneed. They both come out. They looked horrible. Both of them. Sneed was missing tackles left and right.
Yeah.
He looked okay when he blitzed a few times, but
that's all he's ever been good at,
right? We're just going to pay a corner to blitz, apparently. Other than that, yeah, I'm with you. Kadarius Tony shouldn't have been out there. Our whole wide receivers looked horrible. By the way, everybody that wanted to cut Justin Watson, he was the only guy that showed up tonight, I think.
Rasheed Rice was okay. He still had an A drop, I believe.
Rasheed Rice looked decent. Look, Sky Moore, he dropped a few, but Mahomes also misplaced a few. Kadarius Tony was the guy. And where was MVS? Did this guy even make the –
He had a couple of decent catches, but these guys are not getting open. They're just not. There's no way.
That's what I noticed. Look, the offensive line was giving up some pressure tonight. So everybody that said that the offensive line's been a big upgrade, I don't know. Jawan Taylor got called. How big of a job was that, by the way?
Right.
This guy does this all night long, and it's fine. But in the final drive, which we kind of called out, like they're going to do this to the Chiefs.
The final drive, it definitely was offside.
Yeah, I think
they got him for
They got him for twitching a little bit.
And it was a false start. The rest of the time, though, no different than Lane Johnson. So I'll give him that. But I will tell you this. For those of you that thought Jawan Taylor was so great, like I'm not saying he's bad because it's the first game of the season. I'm not trying to be completely overreacting to everything, but he absolutely got worked by Aiden Hutchinson. It was not a contest. Donovan Smith looked decent at times. At other times, I mean, you saw him get the hold.
Big hold right there.
We knew that was going to come. We've talked about that during the offseason, Mike, that he had the most penalties against any offensive lineman last year was
I'll say this.
Donovan Smith. So
it could have been worse. With the tackles, it could have been worse. Why? Right. Because Mahomes pretty much had a clean pocket all night, but the receivers aren't getting open.
Right.
There was coverage sacks, the equivalent. Mahomes wasn't getting sacked, but he was having to scramble. He was having to hold the ball too long. Nobody could get open. Look, it was apparent that our offense missed Travis Kelce. That's apparent. But it's also apparent that everybody that said, hey, we're just going to go wide receiver by committee, this may backfire because you have to get open. And that's what they're not doing at this level. You seen on Monroe St. Brown, he could get open.
Well, he's open because we're playing some kind of weird zone defense.
Weird zone defense.
It wasn't working.
It's got to go. And Carr Loftus getting pushed back in pass coverage there on that huge third down.
And it still wasn't his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't even his fault. Corner out there still, dude. It's like, come on. I don't know. We're just going to continue to see this, I guess. It's just something we're going to have to do.
Right. So, bright side of the game. If I can pull anything good from the game, I would say Mike Dana looked really good.
Mike Dana was a beast.
He had a good night. George Karlaftis looked really good.
Look, I actually think without Chris Jones, I think our defensive line played pretty well. I was expecting worse without having Chris Jones there, but I thought our defense looked good all night.
Well, I think
we held them to 21. That's pretty good.
I think it's fairly clear to see that the defense was good enough to win the game tonight.
Right.
The offense was awful.
The offense,
awful.
We looked no better than Russell Wilson and them looked last year.
Was
Nathaniel Hackett calling plays?
You can't completely overreact. I thought that they did look a little conservative at first, but maybe it was with good reason because these guys can't catch a ball. Sky Moore had some drops, but I mean, Mahomes' accuracy was god awful at times. So Sky Moore, there were a lot of those that just were bad thrown balls. He had at least one drop I know of that was his fault. Kadarius Tony, trash, garbage. Get off the
Tony
field.
Was bad.
Get him off the field. Like the fact that they put him back out there after the first butcher of a catch. Like
if I was Mahomes, I wouldn't even have thrown him the ball. Like he's done nothing to earn
I understand that, but he's wide open, game over.
That's supposed to be our wide receiver.
You got to throw it to him.
This was why we were told don't get D-Hop.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to point out. I wonder if the people that said we didn't need D-Hop, we didn't need a good wide receiver.
They're never going to come off that stage.
I wonder if they're kind of thinking that right now.
They're never going to do it.
And I also wonder if the people that were so positive that we were getting to upgrade the offensive line are kind of coming off that a little bit yet.
I think you have to give the offensive line just a little bit of a pass though, because the receivers were not getting open. If Mahomes could have got rid of the ball, but they couldn't get separation. I cannot wait to go back and watch this game from an all 22 view. I want to see if anybody's getting open. I thought the offensive line done okay, and just the fact that the wide receivers just didn't help them, man. But I want to take some positives out of this. It's not the end of the world. It's one game, guys. Right. It's one game.
Enrique, what's up, my man? With a 2-bomb. He says, was it just today or wide receiver room not good enough? I'll tell you what, from today, they are not good enough.
But
that's been a suspicion of a lot of Chiefs Kingdom the entire offseason. Like, hey, can we please, for the love of God, get Mahomes an actual receiver?
Right.
And you better pray that this was a one-off.
I will say, though, the preseason kind of tricks people into thinking we have wide receiver level.
Right, because you get these guys out there playing with no pads on.
And
he made a spectacular catch in camp.
I was surprised Richie James didn't do nothing today. Like, Richie James didn't look comfortable. Justin Ross was non-existent. Like I said, MVS didn't do much. Sky Moore, they didn't even look to Sky Moore. We know the guy gets open. So Mahomes just don't throw it to him. And then Kadarius Tony, he just flat out stinks. If Kadarius Tony tonight said, hey, guys, I'm going to go rap, I'm probably going to be fine with it.
Well, my thing is, I understand you can just have a bad day. Kadarius Tony had a 100% bad day. You realize he caused the pick six, so he gave the other team 7 points, and then he lost us 7 points by just not catching a ball that he's wide open for.
Yeah, he cost us 14.
A 14-point swing just on Kadarius Tony.
So Chiefs 20, Lions 7, Kadarius Tony 14. Good job, Kadarius. You won tonight.
Right. Now, who's that on more? Is it on more of Kadarius Tony for having a bad day, or is it on the coaching staff for putting him on the field?
Get him out. Look, I wasn't impressed with Matt Nagy either today. I thought the offense looked stale, and we looked really conservative. I didn't think we looked all that good. And can we talk about the BS short yard situations and the trickery all the time? The Kadarius Tony end around, all this stuff. It's got to go, and he's got to get it together. It looks horrible. I don't know which one it's to blame, but somebody's got to get it together.
Well, you mentioned that they look conservative, and I did too. At the beginning of the game, offense definitely looked conservative, but they took a lot more shots downfield tonight than I've seen in a long time. If you think about it. Mahomes was definitely chucking the ball. I want to say that the pockets weren't as clean as they maybe could have been or should have been. Right. Aiden Hutchinson was having his way with Juwan Taylor, Trey Smith. That right side of the line was weak. And there's one thing for sure. I can say this with full confidence. I can give them a pass because, Aiden Hutchinson's a very good player. Okay, I get that. Also, they're adjusting. They're still learning how to block for Patrick Mahomes, who's a little bit different than every other quarterback. But what I cannot give them a pass on, and what we've been saying the entire offseason, is these guys cannot run block. They cannot, and you saw that tonight. These guys are absolute garbage at run blocking. They do not know how to do it, terrible at it. I would take Orlando Brown Jr. 10 times out of 10 over either of those tackles to run block.
Hey, can we talk about the elephant in the room? we told everybody the entire offseason Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to out-snap Pacheco, and I think he did. And to be honest, I don't think Clyde looked that bad there in the third, fourth quarter when they started to move the ball a little bit. Again, everybody's going to rage, but
Clyde was the least of our problems.
I think Clyde actually finished with a better yard per carry average. I haven't got to look, but I don't think Clyde's that big of a problem. Like our big problem is the wide receiver right now. It's got to be. Again, I thought Noah Gray did okay. He missed a few blocks.
Well, that's the thing. Noah Gray did decent.
Right.
And I think if Noah Gray had the opportunities, and say he had to play a whole season, I think he would come around and be a decent tight end. However, he's not a guy that's going to garner a lot of attention from the defense. So not having Travis Kelce out there, it's not like people are trying to double team Noah Gray. Which made it more difficult on these receivers who obviously weren't getting separation.
The fact that Kadarius Tony drops that ball at the end, he tries to catch a ball from the side like this. He tries to basket catch it.
He looked like Tyreek Hill.
With his body. Oh, my God. He was doing a Tyreek Hill impression, but he's slower and he couldn't catch anything. At least Tyreek Hill can catch one every once in a while. I mean, come on. But, yeah, I give the Chiefs overall, like this whole grade, they get like a D at best. I thought it just looked bad. It looked bad.
Damn Redneck with the 5 bomb. Appreciate you, my man.
Appreciate you, Dan.
Man, I wish this could have been on a better note tonight. I hate for the first game reaction of the season to be to a loss to an inferior team.
Right.
The Chiefs had all their opportunities in the world to win this game and just didn't do it. I feel like the Lions played very, very well, which we knew they were going to come out swinging. We knew they were going to because it was like their opportunity to knock off the Super Bowl champions on the national stage, beginning of the season, on banner night.
Look.
We knew they were going to come out swinging, Mike. So they played very well. So my hats off to them for playing well.
Well, look,
but the Chiefs gave it away.
They didn't get the Chiefs on their best night. They didn't get the Chiefs at full strength. It is what it is. Like, they're going to get better. We're going to get better. It's all going to be fine. The fact that those guys won a game on opening night and you'd have thought they clinched a playoff spot out there. Right. I mean, I get it. It's moral victories, but – from the Chiefs, we basically give that game away. We had that game in hand. We probably should have been up 10 to 14 points at one point in the entire game.
When it was 14-7, there were at least 3 drives there where we could have went ahead double digits. Should have scored several times there, and the offense just could not get it together. They looked pretty bad. And I will say the receivers failed Mahomes. They did because we still did enough to win the game, honestly, if they would have just made basic catches.
Right.
But Mahomes did not look great tonight either, so we can't give him a complete pass. His accuracy was pretty bad. I'm going to be honest about it. It's the first game of the season. It is what it is. It's a new group,
right?
And it's just going to take some time.
Look,
right?
It's one game. It's not the end of the world. Was it ugly? Yeah, it was an ugly game.
It's hideous.
But let's hope that the receivers got this out of their system. And look, I don't blame the receivers. Some of them not getting open, I think, was a lot of scheme as well. I don't think we ran a good route tree. There was a lot of times that our receivers were their DBs were setting on our receivers' routes. You could see Mahomes take his drop, go to throw the ball, and the corners would already be breaking on the play. Right. So I don't think the route tree, and look, I don't think it's all Nagy. Nagy can get it together. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think everybody's just adjusting a little bit. Again, it's just one of those things where everybody thought we was just going to come out of the gate and hum, and it's going to take it a little while. This ain't the same team we had last year. It's not. It's going to be different.
Right, for sure. I do see a lot of people lumping Sky Moore in with Kadarius Tony. I would refrain from that.
I don't go that far.
Sky Moore could have been better. He did have at least one drop that I know of that was on him. But most of those balls were just poorly thrown balls by Mahomes. And then there was one good play by the secondary of the Lions that kind of knocked the ball out.
Yeah, there at the end, I thought Sky dropped a good one, but he actually had the ball in his grasp, and Gardner Johnson just come over with a perfectly timed thing. So, I mean, you can't do nothing about that.
Right. And, Lewis, I see you saying Nagy's play calling was a joke. I don't know if I'd go that far yet either. I think Nagy's play calling, first of all,
I want to know who's calling those short yardage plays.
Well, here's the thing. Obviously, it's Andy Reid.
It's got to be because he did it last year with the enemy.
So the thing about it is you can't put too much on Matt Nagy yet. First of all, it's first game as offensive coordinator back with Mahomes and everybody. They didn't really – I'll be straight honest with you. As bad as the offense looked tonight, they didn't look any different than when our offense was playing bad last season.
No, when we had those stretches against like the Broncos and different things,
it's exactly what it was. It's like it's what we said was going to get them
Chiefs.
beat.
Isn't the Chiefs?
Right.
That's their offense. The Dinkin and Duncan, and they just.
Well, Mike,
what
did we say was going to cause the Lions to win tonight if they did? If the Chiefs showed up flat and did not play well,
right? And
like if they just didn't come out and look like they gave a crap.
The offense was kind of flat tonight. The defense was fired up. I thought Mike Dana played well
for sure. Shout out Sarah for becoming a new member. Welcome to the ACU crew. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good to have you aboard. We got a freaking 20 bomb from Ty. What's up, Ty? It says it comes down to Chris brought bad juju with BS Eftis. Don't come next game. Man, I tell you what, Ty, appreciate the 20, by the way. Thanks for the support, my man.
Appreciate you, Ty.
Chris Jones just needs to get back to football. Do
you think being around it tonight and then not being out there is going to kind of dig at him a little bit?
It had to dig at him. But the thing about it is like we've discussed this into the ground. Chris Jones is not 100% at fault here. I think it's a 50-50 thing. Got to be a give a little, take a little from the organization and Chris Jones. They got to come up with something because I think even though the defense played well tonight, I still think it's pretty obvious. They got blown up in the middle quite a bit. They couldn't stop the run.
Right.
And there were times where, the receivers had a little bit too much time to get open because they just wasn't getting the pressure that we're used to getting up the middle.
I thought George looked good tonight.
George definitely looked good.
For the most part, but he's still – I don't know if he's ever going to get over the hump and be able to close. I just don't know if he's ever going to be fast enough to get there. I don't think
he has the speed. He's got to figure out how to close on some of those.
Yeah, I don't know.
2 bomb from Eric says, ouch, help me, I'm hurt. Yeah, we're all hurt a little bit, Eric. Honestly – I'm taking it better than I thought I would. It's the first game of the season.
Look, to me, we're just disappointed in Kadarius Tony. That's the one takeaway out of this. Kadarius Tony, look, they should have started the kid on IR for 4 weeks. When he set out the whole entire preseason, you could tell tonight he was rusty. Why did he get the start and just play all the snaps? Like, it makes no sense.
Right. Like I said,
that's on coaching.
Like I said at the beginning of this live stream, 2 players should not have been on the field. Kadarius Tony absolutely 100% should not have been on the field.
And I think Snead shouldn't have been out there.
Snead looked bad. Snead missed so many tackles. There was at least 2 runs that Jahmyr Gibbs had that could have been shut down at 3 to 4 yards. Snead misses a tackle. They turn into 15, 20-yard plays.
Yeah, Snead had 13 missed tackles last year, led the team. I think he probably had 2 or 3 tonight.
I was going to say 13. I was going to
say he may have had 13 tonight.
I was going to say he went ahead and tied that this season.
Look, yeah. And again, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was getting open, but look, that was coverage. That was scheme. Why were safeties? Why was Justin Reed having to guard Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first half? Like, it was all – dude, it was some bad stuff. And, again, we're still getting beat with that soft, like, zone right behind our linebackers. The same crap we had last year. It's never going to change, apparently. I just don't think we have the defense. We don't have the personnel to run that coverage. Right. And Spags won't quit. Like, he's not going to –
I want to shout out Dan Redneck 76 with the membership. Welcome to the ACU crew, my man. Appreciate you. So my thing is like, I feel like the defense, like I said earlier, they played well enough to win this game. I was not completely pissed off with the defense like I was the offense.
Defense looked fine.
The defense with a little bit of tweaking here and there. If Spags just sees the little things he needs to tweak, I think he's definitely got to see like some of those zone defenses are not working.
Hey, when you compare Chiefs defenses week 1 to week 17 in the playoffs,
I'm okay.
If we're starting like this, we may get down to holding teams under 10 points per game.
Especially if you get Jones back on the field. I'm not worried about the defense.
Defense is fine. Offense, stagnant, bad. I don't know if it was play calling. I don't know if it was just the receivers in whole. I've got to get to look at all 22.
I don't know.
I've got to look at it.
I might whisper this because I don't want the pitchforks to come out.
Right.
But I will tell you this. Patrick Mahomes can't do everything by himself.
That's true. Hey, we've tried to tell people that.
As much as y'all want to say it over and over again.
Hey, you kind of seen it. He was kind of out there with 7 water boys.
I'll tell you what.
And, I mean, nothing happened. Nobody got open. So.
I would guarantee you'll never know this because Patrick Mahomes is such a humble, great guy. But I guarantee you he's absolutely 100% pissed off at how bad those receivers were. And by receivers, I really just want to say Kadarius Tony. The rest of the receivers, I feel like
they couldn't get open. We've got to see the all 22. I've got to take a better look at this. I want to dig in, but right off the rip, it's Kadarius Tony. He stunk. If they cut Kadarius Tony tonight, I don't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss him.
I would trade him for a bag of Cheetos at this point.
Right. 5 bomb from Ty. What's up? He says, tonight just sucked. Not even sure Who or what to be mad about? Kadarius Tony, Ty. Just be mad at Kadarius Tony. Be mad a little. I think if you're gonna like be frustrated with anything, taken away from this game, it's A, Kadarius Tony, B, the coaching staff for having Kadarius Tony on the field. I feel like after the first drop pass that caused the pick six, and then the terrible jet sweep, I feel like after those piss poor efforts, you get them out of the game. Quit putting them in the game.
Look, is it Kadarius Tony's fault that he sucked tonight, or was it on the coaches for rushing him back?
Both. That's what I was saying.
I mean, yeah, he drops the ball and does this, but I mean, he could come back and have a big game next week. But I'll tell you what, you come out and play like this again next week, Jacksonville's going to put one on our ass. It's going to be that. It's that simple. We're going to start 0-2. We play like that again.
My thing is, Kadarius Tony had an atrocious night. It's one of the worst nights I've seen by a receiver in a long time. But we all know Kadarius Tony's actually got some talent.
Right.
So, I mean, he, like you said, he could bounce back and have a huge game next week. You never know.
I still blame the coaches. I don't think he should have been out there.
Right. He wasn't ready to go.
He shouldn't have been out there.
Wasn't ready to go. And I will say that's kind of how the offense looked completely as a whole. I'm talking from Patrick Mahomes down to the last guy that played on offense tonight. They did not look ready.
Right. Again, Patrick Mahomes, a lot of accuracy problems, but I did notice he was not very comfortable in the pocket. The pocket sometimes was good, but these receivers just were not getting open tonight.
Right.
Like I said, I don't know if it was scheme. I don't know what it was, but it's like, and they got a young secondary, by the way. Young secondary, and they were just keying on our routes, breaking on the balls. Dude, it looked like white on rice out there. It was insane. Like
they were definitely busting our balls.
Yeah, we couldn't get any separation.
Chief KT with the 2. He says this should stop. Hold on. This should be. I don't know what he's trying to say here. Let me read it again. Oh, this should be his cue to stop being a Chief Bass GM. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing about it, man. I think Brett Veach does a good job, and I think he's drafted a very good team here. We got a very young team, a lot of good players, a lot of talent, high ceilings. He's doing what he can do. But at the same time, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and pay some guys and figure it out later. And he should be able to move money around to get Mahomes some weapons. Like we've been saying all offseason, like that's why we were big proponents of going after D-Hop if you could. Chris Jones kind of hamstrung us on that, right? We couldn't really do it because Chris Jones wasn't restructuring. We didn't have the money. But we knew, Mike, that this could be a problem. And it showed its ugly face early in the season.
Well, magnified by the fact that Kelsey wasn't out there. So, look, they didn't have anybody they had to double team. So now MVS didn't, get man-to-man all night. You had certain players, like even Kadarius Tony benefited last year. You had all that. So I would say Kelsey was a big reason the offense probably looked stagnant because, again, like Chris Jones, he does more than just make catches. Chris Jones does more than just sacks. They affect the whole offense and defense as a whole.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to overreact just yet. Again, 21-20. The Lions are probably a playoff team. It sucks to lose at home. But look, they were fired up. They were ready to play. We were down 2 big players, top 10 players in the NFL, and we lost by 1 point. And I mean, come on, if Kadarius Tony catches a cold, we win the game.
Right.
So, I mean, come on.
I mean, it was obvious. That's the most frustrating about it is the Chiefs were obviously the superior team. Even as bad as they were playing, they still had the game in hand. I mean, they should have ran away with the game.
They actually were dominating. They should have been up 10, 20 points in the third quarter.
They could have been up easily 14 to 21 points for a lot of the game.
They should have double dipped right out of the halftime.
Yeah.
And it just looked bad. And then
they had one drive that looked good and impressive. That was it.
And that was the one where Mahomes
they scored in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. It was a flash of what the Chiefs should be doing. 309 people in the chat right now. Make sure to hit that like button real quick for us. It just takes a second. It helps us out tremendously. If you're new to the channel, we're all chiefed up. Come hang out with us more often. We're going to be doing this all season. We do pregame the night before the games, and then we will do post-game reactions after every game. And then, of course, for a video podcast, so all throughout the week, you'll be getting those as well. Short content, you name it, we do it. Make sure to hit that sub button, hang out with us.
And as you can see tonight, we watch the game together, so we're doing it live together. Usually not live together, but yeah, man.
Hey, 5-bomb from TGZ. He says linebackers too close because no CJ. True. Okay. KT and Snead had slow reaction. Snead was just awful.
Look, I want to go back and rewatch Snead, but yeah, I think he was awful.
I saw too many plays. Like even if Snead had some good plays, he had a plenty of
his bad off.
Yeah, exactly.
Tonight.
JT had 5 no-called false starts. Clean it up. Well, here's the thing with Jawan Taylor. He's got an elite first step. Like he's got like a Lane Johnson type first step. So sometimes it looks like he's offsides. But I bet you if you slow that down into super slow-mo and watch, he's going exactly when that ball's snapped.
I want to be able to do that. I think I may do that. I may put together a montage and maybe we'll just make a short.
Yeah, we'll check it out. But they showed one in slow-mo on the TV replay that I saw. And he literally moves when the ball moves.
They actually had a head official on there talking tonight. He said it was legal. It just looks illegal.
Right. Well, there's also a tweet from J.J. Watt who was addressing that. And he said, hey, this, in the game, a lot of tackles maybe do get like a tenth of a second ahead. But he was like, if the refs are not calling it, that's just them being on top of it. And he would do it too. He's like, if they're not calling it and you're right on time, then do it. So, I mean, that's just Jawan Taylor. That's one thing I liked about him was the fact that he had that good first step. He was in position a lot to make good blocks, but he was absolutely getting trounced.
Who actually, on the offensive line tonight, who did not look that great for certain times in the first half anyway, was Joe Tooney. He was getting
Trey Smith got walked.
Yeah, Trey Smith got walked. They were just getting walked back in Mahomes' lap a few times. I don't think our offensive line performed very well. I honestly would give our defensive line a better performance grade than our offensive line on our initial watch, and I would have never thought I'd have said that without Chris Jones. But that shows you that Spags and the defense, they compensated, but what happened is the lines figured out how we were compensating by drawing the linebackers up a little too close. We were keeping Mike Edwards in the box. Jamari Connor was in the box. Snead stayed in the box a lot. You had Justin Reed up in the box. Look, Justin Reed, he stunk against Amon-Ra St. Brown. But that's a mismatch all day long. He shouldn't have been out there. He missed a few tackles here and there, but he made a heck of a play on that fourth down where he got there and knocked the ball down. So, look, the Chiefs Chiefs of last year would have got the ball back off that fourth down, would have drove down the field, we'd have scored and won.
Yeah.
Kadarius Tony literally single-handedly cost us that drive, which in turn cost us the game. He also led up the pick six.
Well, you got to think, man, when they went for it on fourth and didn't get it, they gave us the ball at midfield.
It was basically
all
midfield.
we had to do was go kick a field goal. That's how easy this was.
We had to eat a few seconds off the clock and then kick a field goal.
And what happened?
Oh, shout out Butker, though. Butker was perfect tonight. And you don't usually get to say that. So there you go.
No, but what happened? Here they are midfield. All they got to do is get 3 points, win this game, go home, be done with an ugly game. But instead, you have Kadarius Tony dropping a gift from God. And then you have Donovan Smith holding it. So instantly, 2nd and 20, just terrible.
Dude, the fact that Andy Reid went for it on 4th and 25,
and then
though.
4th and 20, then 4th and 25. I was like, what in the heck is he trying
at
to
that
do?
point, we should have just punted it. We had 3 timeouts anyway. Who cares? I don't know. But then again, why were we taking the ball out of Mahomes' hands there towards the end? Because when we punted the first time, pass, run, and then punt it. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, to me, the play calling looked like it wasn't in season form yet. Whether that's Nagy or whether that's on Andy Reid, cool. I don't think the game plan was that good.
No.
I thought their defensive game plan was just as good as our offensive game plan. I thought they adjusted to it really well. I think they eventually found a way to beat our defense, and they did. And they did that by just kind of playing smash mouth football, which is exactly what we said we need to do. They were missing their defensive tackle, but we were not pushing it up the middle. And I'm telling you, running to the outside with Jawan Taylor and Donovan Smith is not going to be as effective as last year. I'm telling you, because if there's one thing Wiley and OBJ was better at, it was getting out and run blocking. Mm-hmm. And we called that out today. Like Donovan Smith was trying to pull – they tried to pull Jawan Taylor all the way across the formation on one side for a sweep to the left. And I'm sitting here thinking, what are you doing?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, some of the things I'm disappointed in as far as – I know it's just a first game, so we haven't really got a full look at it. And also, like Mike said, I'd like to watch the All-22. But I don't think they're using Sky Moore the way that they should be using him still. I still think Sky Moore is not being utilized
correctly. I want to see some of his routes tonight because it looked like Mahomes wasn't even looking to him. For the majority of the time.
Then when he did, he was throwing the ball a yard behind him sometimes. It was unreal.
Which he did that last year a few times. Yeah. So it must be a timing thing with him. I don't know.
Possibility. But yeah, Sky Moore, that's the thing, man. I feel like he had a couple, like I said, he had a drop, at least one I know of that was all on him. One was a good play on the defense. Several of those balls were bad balls by Mahomes. He was just off tonight, to be honest. His accuracy was not great.
Did anybody think Rashee Rice was going to have the opening touchdown of the season? I think that was a little surprising, but I'm sure somebody probably said it, right? Rashee Rice actually looked like one of the better wide receivers out there.
Yeah.
Still want to watch the all-22 because he still wasn't getting open. There was a lot of times he was not. Our receivers just didn't get open tonight. I don't know if it was Detroit. Credit their corners, credit their safeties, credit their scheme. I don't know what it was, or else our receivers just stink.
Well, I'll tell you what it kind of looked like, Mike. It kind of looked like back in the Tampa Bay Super Bowl when they started running that cover 2 shell defense and Mahomes couldn't throw where he wanted to. I got that same vibe tonight. Like I said, I have to go back and see what defense packages they were running, but I got a strong, like, I felt just like I did, like, even the season after that when people were doing that.
Right.
Mahomes just didn't look comfortable. He wasn't throwing good balls, and people weren't getting open. So I kind of felt like it was something like that. I want to go back and watch it and see.
Bryce says Goff 3, Kermit 0. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you guys are just as happy as Joe Burrow to not have a ring on your finger. So congratulations.
Right.
That's cool flex, bro. I don't know.
Right. Now, hey, congrats to the Lions for winning the game tonight. It's big for them, but at the same time, you were playing a Chiefs on one leg with their arms tied behind their back. So.
Right. And by the way,
yeah,
we're going to be that pumped over the first game of the year.
They were acting foolish, weren't they? They looked a little foolish.
Calm down now. Like, I know you beat the Chiefs, but was it really the Chiefs? I don't think so. Like, we're missing 2 top 10 players in the NFL, by the way. Again, 21-20, we should have won that game.
Yeah,
the game was in hand, and they just kind of they stunk it away. But that's about it, man. We'll have a more in-depth, probably rage tomorrow. But to be honest, I'm not all that I'm not that crazy with it.
I'm not that surprised either.
No,
it's just kind of like
I was telling people, don't get your hopes up. We were Nick Wright today coming out saying we're going to hang 40 on them. I'm like, dude, A, we don't beat nobody by a lot, and B, I don't think our offense is that great yet. And sure enough, we didn't even hit it. I tried to be conservative with 30 points and couldn't get it. So.
Chief KT says, y'all think when Kelsey got hurt, it let them down? No, man, I just think Kelsey just not being on the field just changes a lot of things.
Right.
The fact that we don't have a receiver that you can rely on, like Joe Burrow can rely on Jamar Chase, or Josh Allen can rely on Stephon Diggs. Patrick Mahomes never has that. We've talked about this. He's got a tight end. Yeah. He's got Travis Kelce. Without Travis Kelce, no one's getting double teamed. It's just a whole different ball game, and it was apparent tonight. And this is something that we've talked about that's a problem. And that's, like I said, in the offseason, we're like, they need to be making a move for a veteran wide receiver of some sort, somebody that can do something. And they just didn't do it. Right. And I think you're seeing the effects of that early in the season. Can this get worked out? Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the first game of the season. I'm not going to overreact too much.
Maybe the Chiefs needed to get smacked in the mouth right off the bat.
Brian Parrott said that. He called it all week.
He thought we were going to get beat a little bit more than a point, but maybe we need it early. You know what I mean? Like, now maybe they'll come into this and maybe they had a little bit of hangover from Super Bowl. It's a lot of new guys, too. We'll figure it out.
Godly Warrior with the 2 says, Burrow contract, what y'all think? I kind of figured, but here's my thing. If Joe Burrow can be paid the highest contract ever in the NFL, if they somehow manage to keep him, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and all them around them, Brett Veach has no excuses to be out here putting mediocre guys out on the field with Mahomes. End of story. And if I was Mahomes taking a pay cut to get good players and I'm not getting it, eventually I'm getting pissed off. And we talked about that, Mike. You don't want to turn it into an Aaron Rodgers situation 4 or 5 years from now where Pat Mahomes is like, hey, I took all this pay cut for you to get me players. Look, you never got me players.
Tonight showed it. Look, we all thought that this wide receiver room could eventually turn into something, but it's going to take them a while. And we never had a wide receiver 1, and we had a bunch of unproven talent. And look, everybody, well, we don't need that. We don't need D-Hop. Patrick Mahomes can win with the water boy. Well, you just seen it. Like, these guys are better than the water boy, and they still couldn't get open.
Right.
So, again, everybody's got to lay off the cheap a little bit and start coming around to the fact that maybe we need some playmakers around Mahomes.
This just goes with that arrogance that we've been talking about.
Right, it's too much arrogant. You got smacked tonight, and you're going to continually get smacked week in, week out if we don't fix it.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are a better team than the Detroit Lions.
Yes, 100%.
So there's that, and we're playing them next week. TGZ with the 2 says, Hope 87, don't feel pressured to come back too soon. I don't think they'll rush him back. I think he'd probably be fine. They said it was a bone bruise. He'll probably be back, I would say. We got a long week. So
well, they said on the broadcast that they tried to work him out in the hot tub this morning or the pool, and his knee didn't have any strength, so they decided to sit him. But he should probably be back.
He'll be back for that game. I don't think it'll be a problem, and it'll be nice. It'd be nice to see Kelsey back on the field because I tell you,
right? He's basically got a bye week. I mean, that's the good thing of the Thursday.
So, like I said earlier, no shade to Noah Gray or Blake Bell. They both played good games. Both of those guys played good games, but they just don't garner the attention that Travis Kelce does, which makes the whole offense kind of get in a funk because when you don't have to focus 2-3 guys on Travis Kelce, that makes everyone else's job much harder. Much like on the defensive side of the ball, Chris Jones isn't there. None of those guys on the defensive line garnered double teams tonight, so you didn't see much pressure up the middle. It's just it is what it is.
Right. And again, wide receivers, everybody's on them. Everybody, they're a bunch of unproven guys. We've said that. I think they will gel and they'll be okay. I think they've got to find their role in the offense. They've got to get comfortable, and it may take a few weeks. It really might. Maybe that's something Andy and the offense and Nagy, they've got to start – maybe they've got to change their ways just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Patrick Velasquez with the 5. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, why can't we just run Pacheco for 1 yard? That's a good question.
Bro, we've been asking for that for 3 years now. Why can't we just run it on 4th and short and 3rd and short?
I don't care who you give it to. I don't care if you give it to – I mean, don't give it to Clyde because Clyde never gets the 3rd and short, right?
I would rather have Clyde than a freaking trick play every time, though.
Yeah, I like my chances better of them.
Hit the hole and let's go.
Yeah, hand the ball off to anybody, and you got a better chance of converting these stupid plays they try to pull off. I mean, they tried to get cute on the goal line down there and almost cost us a touchdown on that drive.
That's what I'm saying. We got to get rid of the cute stuff, especially in games this close. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
Andy Reid can't help himself. Got a 10 bomb from Javier.
Javi.
What's going on, Javi? Hope you're doing good, my man. He says Mahomes is the truth. Yeah, Mahomes, that's what's funny is Mahomes was off tonight. I'm the first one to say it. Yeah. Mahomes, his accuracy stunk. He couldn't throw a good ball. He threw the ball behind Sky Moore over and over again.
Look, I take credit for him being bad, Steve. We said he may hang 600 and break a record. And
well, that was kind of a joke, tongue-in-cheek. But,
right. And dude said, hey, I got your 600. Now mine is 400 off of that.
Did he even get to 2?
I don't even know if he got to 2. He looked pretty bad.
But, yeah, Mahomes is still the truth, though, because you got to think, man, Mahomes, as bad as he was tonight, I'm going to go ahead. I'm putting him in that category. I'm sorry. I mean, he wasn't as good as Mahomes could be tonight. He just wasn't. He wasn't throwing good balls. But the thing about it is he was still good enough to win the game.
Yeah.
Like bad Mahomes still had this game won, and Kadarius Tony threw it in the trash. Yeah. So think about that for a second. But, yeah, he's the truth, man. Not worried about Mahomes whatsoever. I tell you, I guess that's the way we got to look at this game, right? We've seen all this stuff happen. It was very ugly. You dropped a game, first game of the season, so that's gross. You don't want to do that. It's a bad way to start the season off. But what is there any part of the game or the team that you're actually worried about? Like, is there something that worries you going forward, or do you think this is just a bad night?
No, the wide receivers would be the closest thing to be worrisome. And again, I don't know, maybe, like I said, I want to watch it again from the all-22 because I'm telling you, I just feel like some of the route tree and some of the play designs were not good. I really do. I feel like they ran a lot of the same routes over and over and over again, and it just was not working. Even the route that they got Justin Watson got open on that post, that deep post, and they got that PI call on him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a ticky-tacky PI. I mean, he was there a little early.
It was definitely pass interference.
It was ticky-tacky, though.
It was still pass interference.
But to be honest, the guy was on him on the line of scrimmage, and then as soon as the play was snapped, he knew the route. He literally four paces back before the snap, turns his hips and takes off running to the spot. So they knew exactly what we were running. I don't know what was giving it away or if we were just that predictable. But, yeah, man, I want to see it. I want to dive into it. But name 2 players that stood out to you tonight, though, that needs some credit. Like 2 good players that stood out to you.
Defensive side of the ball, I already said it. Mike Dana looked pretty good, pretty solid.
Right.
I think George Karlaftis looked really good. I wish he could get home. I wish he had like a half step better speed. Yeah. But Felix actually got a lot of pressure. He almost got the safety there. I think if they would have called the holding there like they should have, it could have been.
I think my guy tonight was McDuffie, the warden. He looked good, man.
McDuffie was sharp.
He popped that ball open. I mean, he allowed a few catches from Amon-Ra, which you're not going to shut down Amon-Ra. Like, this guy's good, and he's going to go get his catches. But the thing is like sometimes, like on that one catch he had, he was playing man to man, but McDuffie almost looked like he was going to pass him off and nobody was there. So I don't know. There's a certain things, but I thought McDuffie played well.
There is one thing. I see a lot of the MVS drop balls. Kadarius Tony stinks. I understand all this, but you guys are forgetting a big one, and I don't see anybody saying anything about him. Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah, Jerick McKinnon ended up dropping.
Jerick McKinnon dropped a very, very wide open pass.
That wasn't very McKinnon-like.
No.
Dude, I just feel like everybody was a little out of sync.
Was there anyone that was I guess a bright spot on the offense? If the closest thing to it for me would probably be maybe Rasheed and MVS.
Did the Chiefs have? Did we have a little bit of off-season Super Bowl hangover?
Well, I think this goes in, and this is just my opinion. I know a lot of you guys don't have this opinion. Maybe some of you do, but I think that you're seeing early game one of the season that you can't just throw mediocre talent out there in droves to make up for not having good players.
Right.
Like these guys are, and I'm not saying they're bad players.
Quantity is not better than quality.
They're not bad players, but they're very young. Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, they're young, man. They're super young. Kadarius Tony has spent more time nursing a hamstring than he's ever spent on a football field. And then what's left? MVS and Richie James, they didn't even use him, really. I didn't see him do squat tonight, really.
Right.
And then Justin Watson, who's Mr. Mid himself. Right. So, I mean, this is the product that Brett Veach allowed to go down to the football field. So this is the product that you're going to deal with. And that's just my opinion. I think sometimes it's just like even with the fan base, you get a little over cocky, like, oh, we're the Chiefs. It don't matter. Patrick Mahomes can play with the water boy, blah, blah, blah. But this just goes to show you there was just not enough talent there to pull this game out, Steve, when the team was having a bad night.
Again, we're going to say it again. I don't know how it would have worked out, but this is the only reason we were so big about D-Hop.
Right.
You had to have another guy that was proven besides Kelsey to do something.
Right.
And look, we talked about D-Hop a lot on this channel during that whole saga, and I bet you 90% of the people in the chat was not on board. And they were all saying, we got Kadarius Tony. Why do we need him?
Right.
And now everybody's dogging Tony after one. And I know everybody's going to come for us and be like, you guys said Kadarius Tony. And we never did it. Like, don't come at us and tell us. So everybody just needs to take a step back and be like, look, maybe I was wrong about something. Maybe we did need another playmaker.
I think just from reading through your all's comments, I think the biggest overreaction that I would think that I've constantly seeing, Sky Moore's a bust. I think
that's too early.
And I guarantee you, if they get the ball to Sky Moore in some screen situations or get him on these shorter
again coaching,
they're just not getting him in the right spot. I guarantee you he would be.
Mahomes was
effective.
Not very accurate tonight.
No.
So why in the hell did we not throw some bubble screens? Some screens out of the backfield,
right?
Some things like that. Look, Kelsey runs that little bubble screen up the middle where they'll kind of move out and they'll go to Kelsey. You could have done that same stuff with Noah Gray. Right. Get some completions for Mahomes. Get some of these young guys some completions. When Kadarius Tony made that drop, Andy didn't immediately go back to Kadarius Tony. Did you notice? And then for the rest of the night, he drops. Maybe they needed to have stuck to it and get them.
Normally Andy tries to get their confidence back.
Right. So maybe
didn't do it.
He didn't do it tonight.
Right.
So maybe they should have immediately went back to Kadarius Tony as quick as they could on a little bubble screen and just got the ball in his hands.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not going to second guess Andy's coaching, but I mean, everything looked a little off tonight from the coaching to everybody. We all look like we had a little hangover from the Super Bowl.
Right. Like I said, I just think Sky Moore's not getting utilized correctly. It's just my opinion. Like, I know Andy knows more than I'll ever know in my lifetime about football. But I feel like Sky Moore's just not being put in the right situations. He's more, to me, like, get him the ball in some space and let him create yak. But he keeps, like, I keep seeing him on these routes where he has to make some kind of crazy jumping, diving catch to even get his hands on the ball. And it's silly to me. It makes no sense. So that's a little strange to me. Kadarius Tony, I don't want to overreact and say cut him tomorrow, but I wouldn't be mad about it. But he just pissed me off that much.
Yeah,
but I mean, is Kadarius Tony a bad football player like he was tonight? No, it's a terrible freaking night for the guy. But then again, it goes back into he hasn't played the entire offseason, and then we put him in the game. Yeah. And tell me this, with him struggling and some of the other guys struggling, why did Justin Ross not see more snaps? Like it's like I
Yeah.
don't feel like there was any adjustment from the coaching staff either, and that's another thing I
Isn't
didn't
that
like.
a thing that we always have trouble with? Is the adjustments? I don't know.
Right.
We'll see.
Well, Jay says he thinks that Sky Moore is another McCole Hardman. He's gonna be if the Chiefs continue to try to use him like that.
Right. The Chiefs need.
He's not a gadget guy. He's not a guy that you hand the ball off to. He's not a guy that is gonna. They're gonna have to get him. They need to use him more like Juju was being used last year. Go up, find the soft spot in the defense, whether it's 5, 8, 10 yards. Get him the ball. Let him create yak. That's what Sky Moore is going to succeed at. He's very quick and fast in small spaces. He can get extra yardage, but they're not putting him in those situations. They're just not doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you just got to put him in good situations. Look, Sky Moore is a guy when we drafted. He's not George Pickens. He's not that guy. You're going to have to create space. You're going to have to run plays for him to get him open, to get him to do it. And like you said, I don't feel like either he's not getting a lot of separation, which isn't the case because last year he had over 2.5 yards of separation. So unless he just stunk tonight, but who knows? I just think the whole offense didn't look cohesive.
Right. Everyone's saying that McCole Hardman was way better than we give him credit for and that he was a beast and blah, blah, blah in the chat. You're proving my point for me. If you think McCole was that good, imagine what he could have been if they didn't only use him as a gadget guy.
Right.
Like, that's
So
what I'm
again,
saying.
the
I'm
Chiefs-
saying they don't need to do that with Sky Moore. They don't need to limit him. They need to find what he like. I feel like that's just not his niche there, Mike. I don't think it is.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I said, Andy Reid knows much more about football than me. And anyway, I'll never say that McCole Hardman's great at football because we could have DK Metcalf on the team. But
Right.
it is what it is. Man, not even close to the scores.
Dude, well, people are asking now, though, is this a bad thing for the Chiefs? Does this allow the Chiefs and everybody to have a game plan going forward to where they just have to eliminate Kelsey?
That's what they've been trying to do.
They try that all the time. It doesn't work. Kelsey's that good.
Well, if you eliminate Kelsey, you're using a double team every play.
Right. So
Tonight,
when he started out there, you had no double
right.
team. So all these receivers, it was very possible they just wouldn't get separation. They couldn't get open. They're used to having Kelsey taking 2 and 3 players.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe that's what it was. I'm not going to be doom and gloom, and I don't think it was that bad of a loss. It sucks, but it's 0-1. We've got like, what is it, 16 more to go. It's going to be fine. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. So, man, I tell you, some things that I'm going to be keeping my eye on going forward. Like I said, I'm not going to completely overreact after the first game of the season, as ugly as it was. But some things I want to keep my eye on going forward is Jawan Taylor and Donovan Smith.
Yeah.
Because tonight, I think they proved why I've had hesitations. Donovan Smith got a penalty at a crucial time. He got beat a lot. He sucks at run blocking. Jawan Taylor sucks at run blocking. Jawan Taylor got his lunch ate by Aiden Hutchinson over and over again, a guy that's his second year in the league.
Hey, and by the way, Aiden Hutchinson's good, but you guys were just teeing off on Wiley last year, and this guy's going, look at the pass rushers in the AFC West.
Do you think it's going to get any easier for Jawan Taylor?
It ain't getting any easier.
Because Aiden Hutchinson's good, but look at next week, Josh Allen
next week.
And then when you get into the AFC West, you think Aiden Hutchinson's good. Remember a guy named Max Crosby we got to face twice a year?
You're going to get Max Crosby. You're going to get Chandler Jones.
Jawan Taylor's going to have to step up and stop an elite guy. That's why we paid him $80 million freaking dollars. But then again, it's just something I want to keep my eye on. I'm not writing them off saying they suck. I will say they suck at run block, and they've got to improve at that. But as far as the pass protection and stopping the pass rushers, that's just something I want to keep my eye on. I don't think they did 100% terrible tonight. I feel like at one point, even though I did see a blatant quarterback hit from Jawan Taylor, they said that he had none.
Right. He totally let up a QB hit.
Yeah,
we watched it with our own eyes.
Yeah, I even tweeted about it. I was like, man, we could have paid Andrew Wiley a lot less money to let Patrick Mahomes get hit.
And then NBC says he took 38 snaps, no QB hits. And we're like, did they miss the entire drive? Yeah. Well, I thought Tony didn't look that great. There was a few. I just don't think we played well as a team tonight. I think there's a little bit of hangover.
Casey Van Den, there's one Mike because this is my setup. Mike was just over watching the game, and instead of going home and getting on, we just jumped on here to do this. So, anyway, what we got going on here? We got a 5 bomb from Patrick. Says recently been feeling down on Beach, wondering if he's okay letting us down this year and prepping more for future years. I think if anyone's okay with letting anyone down during Patrick Mahomes' prime, they're a freaking idiot. So if that's true, Brett Veach is just absolutely stupid. End of story. I don't think that's what he's doing. I just think that Brett Veach kind of got in that cocky mode like the fans did, where it's like, well, look, we did it without Tyreek Hill, so we can just do it with anybody. Throw him out there. We don't need nobody. We don't got to pay nobody.
Hey, it can still
Blah, blah.
happen. It's just not going to happen quick. You're going to take your lumps.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not writing this team off. If you're writing this team off this early, you've obviously
crazy.
not watched Chiefs football in the last few years. But yeah, they definitely got some things to work on. Appreciate the 5, Patrick. Brenda Pike's been a member for 4 months now. She says, we lost. It sucks, but I still love my Chiefs. Yeah, that's the thing about it. Still love the team, obviously. But I will say that they were abysmal on offense tonight, and it was hard to watch. It's just the classic Chiefs stalling on offense, hard to watch. Just makes you want to cringe a little bit. It's pathetic, you know?
Yeah. Jeff. I want to call Jeff Gibbs. He says Mahomes' pass placement was terrible. Pass placement. I'll get it out in a second. Jeff, you're right, dude.
Yeah.
We said that. Mahomes did not have his best game tonight. But again, I want to go back and rewatch it from the all 11. I don't know if his receivers were getting open. He wasn't being able to take his drop and then fire the ball out. You seen on one snap in particular, I called it out with Steve. I was like, look, they created a good pocket. He was about ready to throw the ball and he had to let up on it because all the corners were breaking on every wide receiver route. So I feel like it's the route tree was bad. The receivers didn't get open. Mahomes was not comfortable. He eventually had to hold the ball too long. The pass rush started getting home. It's a huge it's a ball that just rolls downhill and it's hard to stop.
Well, when you got people like when you have people dropping catches like Kadarius Tony and stuff, it causes Mahomes to become hesitant sometimes too, which makes him hold on to the ball too long. It was just it was an avalanche of BS basically, but let's hope they can get it behind them and go on. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure the guys are doing their press conferences and stuff if they haven't already got it done. Be interesting to see what they have to say about it. Of course, they're going to say the same things as always, like we got to get better, blah, blah, blah. Andy Reid's going to say it's his fault and he didn't have the team ready. Patrick Mahomes is going to say he didn't play well and he's going to do better. That's coming. But yeah, Mike saw something that it's making him happy.
What? Why is Nightbot going crazy?
Why did Nightbot say?
He said you kiss your mother with that mouth. Why is Nightbot talking trash, bro?
Nightbot's throwing down no vulgarity in the chat.
No vulgarity. Bro. Nightbot will not have it.
Nightbot said no getting horned up in the chat, baby.
Dude, we're the anti-horned up tonight.
Jack Richards with the 20. Appreciate you, Jack. He says we had close games last year too. Having Jones at the middle made a big difference. 100%, Jack. You hit the nail on the head. We had a lot of games like this last year where the team just stunk and had a bad game. And they're coming. We're going to have plenty more this season.
Dude, I'm glad it was the first game of the year. If we don't see this for another 10 weeks, I'll be
You're going to see it again.
No.
I'm going to throw it out there. You're going to see the Chiefs imposters at least 1 to 2 more times this season. Get used to it. But the problem is when you don't have Travis Kelce on the field to cover it up, you don't have Chris Jones on the defense to cover it up, it becomes more apparent. And it's a problem. Instead of you winning the game by 1 or 2 points, you lose the game by 1 or 2 points. And that's just why we've been saying some guys you don't cheap on. Chris Jones is one. You don't cheap on Mahomes' weapons, but it continues to happen.
Right.
It just is what it is. Chief KT says should Def try to trade for Mike Evans. I mean, honestly, after tonight, I wouldn't be upset if they made some kind of trade for Mike Evans.
Well, let's think about this though. Mike Evans wants big money.
Super expensive. Yeah, super expensive.
We won't pay our own players. We're not paying nobody else. Brett Veach he's hunkered down, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna play with a cheap, young roster, and we're gonna win or we're gonna lose, and that's the way it's gonna be. Like
absolutely. I
still don't even think tonight brings them any closer to a Chris Jones deal. Only if Chris Jones maybe Chris Jones was like, man, I missed this. I want to be on the field. That might do it, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to budge. I think Brett Veach looks at it tonight and says defense.
If I'm Chris Jones and I see how the offense played tonight and knowing that half of Chiefs Kingdom is going to blame the defense, I'd probably go ahead and sit out a little longer.
Quit blaming the D. I don't think it was their fault.
No, but appreciate the 2, Chief KT. And, man, I just think there's a lot of things that need to be worked on, but we knew that going in. But that's the thing. I just want to say that one more time. I see a lot of people throwing out the Mike Evans thing. And yeah, in a nice fantasy land, it would be nice, but it's never going to happen. If Brett Veach was comfortable with putting the product that you saw on the field tonight out on the field, on opening day. He's going to leave it that way. He's not going to go get Mike Evans, who wants too much money. Never in a million years.
Right. Why did somebody tell me the score? Did I mess the score up?
I don't know. 21-20.
21-20.
What'd you say?
I don't even think I said a score. I don't know.
They're just telling you how it was, man. They're letting us know.
I don't know.
But the fact that the Chiefs only lost by 1 point with that abysmal game is kind of funny because, like I said, the Lions played well. Hats off to the Lions. They played well. They played tough. They did what they had to do to win the game. The Chiefs were abysmal on offense, and they still only lost by 1. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that Chiefs at their absolute worst. This is one of the worst offensive performances from the Chiefs I've seen in a couple of years, and we've seen some bad ones. It was like the second half of the AFC Championship game against the Bengals 2 years ago, but for the whole game.
Right. It was really bad. We're missing 2 top 10 players in the entire NFL.
Right.
It's 21-20. This isn't that big of a deal. Again, if Stonehands Tony could have caught a cold tonight, we'd have been okay. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to be fine. It's just not a big deal. Like, we can all rage at Tony. It's fun. But I even think he'll bounce back. I don't think Andy's going to go away from him and cut him or anything like that, even though we would all be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, probably like we said, I think that first of all, you're an NFL freaking receiver, and I understand that he's had a knee injury and stuff, but there's no reason why his hands should be so bad. So, I mean, Kadarius Tony deserves every bit of the tongue lashing he receives from anybody tonight because he was absolutely terrible. But at the same time, I think the coaching staff for having him on the field has to take some heat as well.
Yeah.
Because he'd been out.
What's the deal with all the Bengals fans?
What are they doing?
Like, why are there so many Bengals fans on here, like, loving this? Like, you guys are you just saw Burrow and you're going to lose to the Browns.
They
it's going to be hilarious.
I think they feel a kinship with Burrow and Jared Goff because they're like the regular season warriors.
The champions.
Yeah.
The regular season champs.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. You guys are going to miss the playoffs this year. I'm a firm believer. I think the Steelers are winning that division.
They could do it.
Mark it down.
I think the Bengals kind of put the last nail in their coffin with that BS contract to Burrow, didn't they? Because now they can't pay the 15 good wide receivers that he needs to be Joe Burrow.
I wouldn't have given Burrow I wouldn't give him a box of Cheez-Its. He sucks. I mean, just get rid of him.
I would love to see Joe Burrow try to win a game without a receiver that's not elite, like Jamar Chase.
I mean, he couldn't even win a game in the AFC West unless he was playing against Mahomes, I guess.
Yeah, true. But hey, the regular season games, though, they get some people pumped. Yeah. But I'm not going to like I said, no overreaction here. Disappointed at how the team played and how they looked. It like makes me skeptical on a few things. Like I was saying earlier, I want to keep my eye on those tackles. I still think I'm not sold on Jawan Taylor, especially for the money we paid him. I'm not sold on Donovan Smith being the answer this year, but we'll see. I just want to keep my eye on it. Like I said, I don't think they played miserably, but they definitely had their flaws.
No.
And then Snead. I want to keep my eye on Snead. Like, is this a product of him not being on the field the same way as Kadarius Tony? Or is he going to continue to miss tackles and just make
D+? You're totally right. D+. Thanks. We're just going to pull that one up. But you're making everybody's point. He missed the training camp. People need to simmer down. Why was he out there? Him and Snead missed the whole training camp. They were not game ready. They were not ready to play. That's on the coaches. Both of them should have been sitting out the whole game.
I feel like if you miss the entire – well, both of them missed all of camp, basically.
They should have just not played today.
I don't think they should – that shouldn't even have been a thing. Like, no. I feel like they definitely should have not even been in question. Like, if you didn't play all of camp and you didn't play in the preseason, you're not starting
because
game
Kadarius Tony looked bad and Snead looked bad because they didn't have any game preparation. Yep. So yeah, you made the point. We've already said that nobody's like horrible with Tony, but like he shouldn't have been out there.
Patrick with another 5 says, I actually think our defense played a great game. Any game we hold an opponent to 21, we're usually smoking them. Patrick, you're hitting the nail on the head here. I've said this before. If you got Patrick Mahomes and y'all think that no matter who he gets on the field with, that we should be able to put up all these points, 21 points should be a good thing.
Right. Patrick can throw the ball. Patrick can change plays at the line. Patrick can do whatever. Patrick can't get a wide receiver open and make him catch the ball. Like that's and everybody tries to say this, but everybody was shot down the entire offseason over this. I mean, at some point, you can't play both sides of the fence. So
Right.
I guess the or the pro D-Hop crowd can take a lap tonight, I guess. I guess you can take a lap.
Blue Cheese with the comedy shtick here, saying the Raiders are going to actually win. I just had to because it's so funny.
What is it?
He says the Raiders are going to whoop our ass this year. Sure, buddy.
Hey, look, if you don't get us this year, I don't think you're ever going to. Like, so I'll say that. If you don't get us at least once this year, you may go on like a 20-year losing streak.
You're going to be the Broncos, brother.
Could be.
AFC West doesn't scare me whatsoever. I think the Chargers will always give us a run in the regular season.
Oh, yeah. They'll always play well.
But that's just how it goes. Overall, there's just a lot to work on. A lot to work on. Why didn't we scheme better looks for Sky Moore? That's what we were saying, Patrick. That's what people need to be hearing right now. A lot of people down on Sky Moore saying he's a bust or he dropped a lot of balls tonight. Sky Moore dropped one that I know of that might have been his fault. I would say most of those drops that Sky Moore had were terrible passes by Mahomes. And then there was one that we know of was a good play by the defense to knock the ball out.
Right.
Otherwise, though, they're just not using him the way I think he should be used. And that's what I was talking about earlier, Patrick. I think they got to scheme up better things for him and get him the ball in space because he can make some things happen. And I think the way that Rashee Rice, the way he looks after the catch, they need to be doing the same thing to him.
Oh, yeah,
like these guys can make things happen with the ball in their hands, and they're just not doing. It was just strange. Like I felt like Mike kind of nailed it earlier. He said the route trees looked really bland and predictable, and it just wasn't all that. I think some play calling needs to get together. Woody with the 5 says that Blake Bell is horrendous. Andy blew some play calls. Man, the third down and short stuff has got to stop. Like, look, I'm sorry. I love Patrick Mahomes, and I don't want to put Patrick Mahomes in any imminent danger. But doing a quarterback sneak is not putting him in danger, Mike. Every other quarterback in the freaking league does it. I'm sorry he knocked his kneecap off one time. But you can't just eliminate that from his game for the rest of his career.
Well, this is it. Then what's the play? Like, what happened to Kelsey the other day? Because we should just eliminate that. Kelsey should never have to do that again.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Was it just a simple little slant?
I'm sorry.
Tackle?
I'm sorry, but I'm a big proponent of Patrick Mahomes. Y'all going to have to grow some balls and make that man do a quarterback sneak from time to time. I also think
just have a better play call.
Also think you could just hand the ball to Isaiah Pacheco and hit it and go. No delayed handoffs, no nothing. Just freaking smash mouth, get the 1 yard. Let's go. Quit being cute. That's
like
all.
Block for him.
That's all on Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Andy Reid's got to stop with that stuff, man. But he's done it his entire career. He'll continue to do it. So just get used to it. But appreciate the 5, Woody. And a good point. It's just, we saw a couple of third and shorts tonight that were just ugly. Pretty bad. I thought some of the coaching decisions tonight were questionable. Like you said, Mike, the game plans did not look good.
Yeah.
I don't think they had good game plans. Even Andy's first 15, the plays were stale and crap. So that's another thing is I saw where people were saying, man, Matt Nagy, play calling was bad. The play calling started bad. And Andy Reid is the first 15 is Andy Reid. It always has been. And that's where we looked very conservative and bad, in my opinion. Yeah. But they just didn't adjust. Like, if it's not working, that's one thing, but there's no adjustment. And that's always annoying when the coaches don't adjust.
Yeah.
Because they had their opportunities. They had plenty of opportunities to blow this game open tonight when they were up 14-7. They could have been up 21-7, 28-7 even. But they just kept sucking.
Yeah.
And it was bad. The offense just absolutely let the defense down today. All there is to it. Honestly, think that if it wasn't for Kadarius Tony handing them 7 points, think about that. Kadarius Tony took 7 points and handed it to the freaking Lions. So think about that.
Serve that up with a side of beans.
Our defense only let up 14 freaking points, man.
Yeah.
And that was without Chris Jones. So think about that. Defense can hang their heads high today. I think they did fine.
The defense played well.
Yeah, the offense stunk. And this is what we saw a lot last year, like Mike said earlier with the Broncos game last year, and there was a couple other games around that, the Texans game, and everyone was down on the defense last year. And it's like, dude, this offense just gets so stale sometimes. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Even when the defense is playing good, eventually they're going to crack. Like, what do you expect? If they're always on the field. And
hey, but look, they said this was going to be a shootout, and it turned out to be a defensive battle.
That was weird.
It always is. It always goes the opposite way. I'll say this. Even with everything that happened tonight, again, it's not the end of the world. I think this is going to wake the Chiefs up. I think that they're going to have a long week because obviously you get 3 extra days off. But I think this Jaguars is going to be an early season test. Are they going to come out and respond and beat the Jags at Jacksonville? Because that's a tough one.
It's going to be tough.
If they can respond to do that, though, they're on a good direction.
Dougie P is a much better coach than Dan Campbell.
Right, but if they don't get it together and they come out flat again and they go 0-2, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Maybe a little bit of trouble. But I want to see how they respond to Jacksonville.
That's the one thing I don't like about dropping the game at the first game of the season, because I said this the other night, Mike. If you're at 3 losses by the bye week, which I think is week 10. So if you're at 3 losses, I'm not comfortable with that. I feel like that, like, I don't want 3 losses on the record by bye week. I want like 2 at the most, and they've already dropped 1.
I mean, if you go into bye week 5 and 4,
that's bad.
It's bad, but I mean, it's not
bad.
the end of the world. It's 4 losses.
It's still bad.
You can run the table.
We want a 1 seed. We want the Arrowhead Invitational. We can't be dropping games, especially like this one, to a team.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, let's be honest here. The Lions are a good team. They're up and coming. We know that, but they had no business beating the Chiefs.
No, not at all.
This end of story. They're not as good of a team.
They wasn't as good of a team tonight.
They weren't even as good of a team as us without our players. You know, it's just it is what it is.
Minus Chris Jones, minus Travis Kelce, we were still 20 points better than they were, and we just couldn't get a drive going to sustain it. That's what it was. One
thing that they've definitely got to make sure of is that some of these things don't bleed over into the locker room. Got to be some team chemistry here. I didn't feel that tonight, and I know it's early in the season, but I kind of felt like it was just like a little, I don't know what the word is, disheveled. Like, it didn't seem cohesive. Like, the players didn't seem like they were ever that pumped or in good spirits. It just didn't look like
we looked like we were on a hangover.
Yeah,
we did not look like we were like pumped to be
and
there.
Now you got someone like Kadarius Tony who just handed the game away on a silver platter.
I thought the defense played inspired.
How does this all react? Like, we'll see, but like you said, Mike, it's just, how do we react? How do we bounce back against Jacksonville this coming week? Because Jacksonville's a better team than Detroit, and we're going to be in their house, and Doug Peterson's a better coach than Dan Campbell.
Right.
So I mean, definitely a better team, pretty much all around, and we're playing them right after this stinker. So it's definitely going to be interesting to say the least. But I can't wait to watch the all 22 on this one. It'll give us a better idea of what went wrong here. And then when we'll put out a video podcast kind of diving in depth on that and maybe give you guys more of an idea of what actually went wrong. Why was the offense so stinky?
Right.
Like, why did they why did they shit the bed?
Yeah.
Why'd they do it?
We'll get a video. We're going to go to bed tonight. We're going to sleep on it. Well, I'll wake up. I'll watch the game tomorrow, and we'll probably record a podcast. We might try to release one tomorrow night for the weekend, maybe. And we'll go more in depth on this for real. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's just what we're going to do, man. There's nothing we can do. We're just all going to have to go back to the drawing board and hope we show up next week against Jacksonville. We have no room for error. Like, this is not an easy schedule this year. Like, we can't. So we've got to get it together.
This is a good point by Tom. 4th and 2 twice inside the 25, and Andy took field goals on both. I thought that was very conservative by Andy. I feel like there was just an overall theme of being way too conservative tonight. I saw it several times, just from the play calling to things like that. Didn't like it.
Especially
until it was 4th and 25, and then we want to go for it.
Especially when the coach on the other team goes for it on 4th down, playing straight Madden football on the second drive of the season inside their own 20.
Right.
That's insanity. And that's when you knew that was Detroit's Super Bowl. Like, you knew it right then and there. Like, they were not leaving unless they won that game. They were going to do everything it took. I'm surprised they punted a few times when they did.
No kidding. It's just, I don't know, man. I just feel like this one, I know he's going to say it. I know he's going to say it. But I guess overall, the more we talk about it, Mike, it does fall back on Andy Reid.
Yeah, it really does.
Straight up. And I'm not saying that Andy Reid Andy Reid's human.
Yeah, I'm not calling him a bad coach.
He's the best
but
coach in the league, but
I
he's
just-
still human. It's
Yeah,
going
I
to
feel like
happen.
there was a lot went wrong.
Freaking 20 bomb from Jeremiah. What's up, Jeremiah? Jeremiah was not having it. Jeremiah wasn't having it. He sent me some messages during the game. He said, "This is BS, Mike." But Jeremiah says, "I'm pissed on how this game played out. Where was Ross or CH? CH, when they had him on the field, I think CH did okay. He definitely got more snaps than people thought he was going to get because most of you guys thought he was going to get cut, which was absurd. But I think CH was, it was all right. Ross, they weren't using Ross at all.
No, Ross was only out there for, I don't know, I want to say maybe like less than 7-8 snaps.
Just think if they would have had Ross out there instead of Tony on those plays,
The one I'm more surprised about, though, to be honest, the wide receiver, I'm really like, where was he? Was Richie James.
Yeah.
I thought Richie James was going to be good in this offense, and I thought he would kind of like the way he runs routes and the way Mahomes looks for him and the way he can extend routes and plays. I thought Richie James was going to show up, and Richie James just – a turd burger is what Richie James had tonight. He didn't even look good returning punts.
Looked pretty bad returning. But yeah, I mean, this just goes back to the coaching, Mike. Like, were they even trying to get Richie James in the game? They did go to him on a screen. I think that I remember specifically. But right. I just feel like I think the main theme overall tonight, guys, is there's just no go-to guy. And that's what we've been saying all offseason. Mahomes has no go-to guy other than Travis Kelce. There has to be another go-to, and we just don't have one.
You remember back we were talking about this, and everybody's like, well, he's got Kelce. And do you remember me saying, if something was to happen to Kelce, right, God forbid, this offense is going to look like trash? And everybody said, how dare you say that, A? But B, they told me I was crazy. And you seen it.
Right.
Kelce is a big piece, and if he's not out there, we have no other playmakers to step up.
Right,
we
for
don't.
Sure. I appreciate that 20, Jeremiah. You're the man. Yeah, rough night for Chiefs Kingdom. It was just not the way you wanted to start the season out. But the thing about it is we can only go up from here. I mean, we can only go up from here. So definitely nothing to be freaking out about. I still think the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs.
It's not a big deal.
2 from KT. We appreciate you, Chief KT. So the Chiefs did a lot of celebrating this offseason. They did, and I think you saw a little bit of a hangover, like Mike was saying. Boy, the Lions did some celebrating. They act like they won the Super Bowl tonight.
They may be in Disneyland.
CJ Gardner-Johnson's probably so horned up he passed out in the locker room.
I think they're going to be
at
Disneyland this weekend.
After the Super Bowl loss.
Yeah.
And then CJ Gardner-Johnson, they got the win tonight. I think he got so erect in the locker room, he passed out.
His body's fully erect. He's horned up right now.
Yeah. He lost no blood flow to his head. He just passed completely out.
He may just quit for the season. He may buy a ring. And I don't know. We'll see.
Don't you hate that guy?
I mean, he makes some good plays.
He has a vendetta against Isaiah Pacheco. He wants to hurt him.
You know what's funny? Did y'all see Pacheco try to he fake swung on him? He said, flinched
at him.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, so going forward, man, it's rough because we're coming off of that and we're going to a better team. We're going to a better team's house. Some things got to get in order fast. I think Kelce will be back, though. I think that's one positive we can look at. I think Kelce will be back for the Jaguars game. Shoot, man, I don't know what else. There's not really much more that we can bank on because we saw a full offense tonight minus Travis Kelce. And nobody looked good. I mean, even Jerick McKinnon was dropping balls, bro. It was just nobody was having a good night.
I feel like it was just a hangover. They did not look good.
Did it remind you of a typical Chiefs game when things just keep going wrong and you knew they were going to lose? Like when Kadarius Tony completely gave away that pass that hit him right in the hands and they got the pick 6. I just knew it was it's one of them games.
Yeah,
they're going to lose because
had that sense.
Nothing can go right, and it's just that night. Ray says Nagy's soft. We'll see. Not sure what's going on there yet. It's hard to say that off the first game because we do know Matt Nagy was previously the Chiefs offensive coordinator with Alex Smith, and he was an excellent play caller. So, plus offensive coordinator under Andy Reid, how much do they have a say in things? We don't really know. But I think this team looked the same way they looked bad last year when they were stagnant and playing bad. It didn't look any different to me, even though it's a new offensive coordinator. I still thought it looked like the same old crappy Chiefs offense when they start sucking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It didn't look like it wasn't nothing new. You know what I'm saying?
But again, first game of the year, we're gonna be fine. Chill out. I think we're gonna have a good solid week this week. I think Andy and them will make the adjustments. I think they'll start getting better routes for Sky, better routes for Richie James, getting Mahomes more easy throws to get him going. Kelsey's gonna come back. He's gonna draw a double team. It's gonna be fine. And I think our defense is gonna step up. And maybe in this long week we can get Chris Jones back. Let's go. That's what I'm rooting on. That's what I'm banking on. We're gonna have to light a fire under the ass. And we're going to have to come out and beat Jacksonville. We can't afford to go 0-2. So let's see how this team responds. If they come out and lay down against Jacksonville, I'm going to be a little worried. If they come out and respond, they're fine. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Dave, if you're talking about Matt Nagy losing his coaching job, he should have never took that job in Chicago. That was a terrible situation. He would have had to pull a miracle over there. So not too worried about that. Man, so 332 watching. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers before the end of the season. I think we passed up 12,000 here a little while ago, so we got a pretty good chunk to go. So yeah, hit that sub button if you haven't already. If you guys don't care, take a minute to hit the like button. Yeah, so the season's just getting rolling for everybody, man. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a challenging season. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge than the previous years, but I'm still high on what the Chiefs can do this year, and I still think they can repeat. I still think they're my favorite to win the Super Bowl, even with a bad first game, because we saw the diet Chiefs tonight. There was no Kelsey. There was no Chris Jones. There's just a lot going on. We got a lot of young players, a lot of rookies, a lot of second-year guys. This is what it is. I think they just have to eat this one, and they got to learn from it. And that's all there is to it. That's all you can do with these. And I think that Andy Reid and the coaching staff, they have to put the stubbornness aside a little bit and realize that some of this is on them. So they got to learn from it as well and just get better going forward. But yeah, as this season goes on, we want to try to keep growing the channel. So if you guys could help us out, help spread the word, get more people over to All Chiefed Up, that would be amazing. So yeah, if you're talking to any Chiefs fans or know any, or even if you talk to other people here on YouTube on other chats, just send them our way. We're gonna be doing a lot of Chiefs content, and it's gonna be a fun season. So Mike's trying to blind me with a light over here.
I
am. But yeah, overall, sucky way to start the season out. Pretty sucky.
Could have been worse. It could have been worse. I thought the defense looked good. I thought the defense looked good. We looked a lot better than I thought we were going to. I know there towards the end, we started giving up a lot of runs. But let's be honest, Chris Jones isn't really that run stopper guy, though. I mean, he's not. So that happened last year a few times with Chris Jones. So I'm not saying Chris Jones would have been back. We would have just stuffed the run. So it is what it is. But I thought McDuffie had a good game. That was a positive. Snead looked horrible. Snead shouldn't have been out there. Kadarius Tony shouldn't have been out. That's the thing. Andy messed up on.
Yeah.
He played those guys too much.
Well, is it fair to say this? What I'm about to say, like as bad as the Chiefs were tonight, as bad as their offense looked, as bad as everybody played, I feel like Kadarius Tony single-handedly lost the game. If he wasn't on the field, the Chiefs still win the game.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Like I think that's 100% on Kadarius Tony's play, which is not 100% on Kadarius Tony because he shouldn't have been on the field. So I think it's on the coaching staff a little bit. Either way, even if they had won this game, guys, I still would have had the same sentiment tonight on this reaction. Like I'm still judging the game the same way as even if they would have won by 1 point because they still didn't play well.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean,
win or lose, we're going to come say the same stuff.
Heck yeah, Jason with a 20. Appreciate you, Jason. He says we won't repeat if receivers keep dropping balls. Mahomes puts it right in their hands. Yeah, there was too many drops tonight where there were good passes. As equal amount of drops there were passes that Mahomes missed the mark. So I think they both got to get it together a little bit. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, we don't worry about. He's Patrick Mahomes. But he does got to get that accuracy under control. His deep ball accuracy pretty much sucked last season, to be honest. As good as he was last season, as good as the offense was last year, won a Super Bowl and everything, Patrick Mahomes' deep accuracy last year was not good. I was hoping to see him hone that back in this year. So far, he's struggling a little. But we'll see. It'll get there. I'm not worried about him whatsoever. Worrying about the receivers dropping balls, I think that's fair. Pretty much. I'm blocking this guy just because he's dumb.
Who?
I don't know. I'll put him in timeout first. You get a timeout, sir. Yeah, but trolls like this, Mahomes ain't shit without Kelsey. Yeah, that's funny. Okay. Let's see. Mahomes had 2,800 yards after catch last year, bro. He's so overrated. He threw for like 5,000 something, bro. Like that's not even half. No one cares. Like if you're trying to down Mahomes, you're just an idiot. You're just a fool. Like if you can't accept the fact that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever step on the field, you're just wrong, and you're banned.
Hey.
But anyway,
Banned.
I don't want to see his face no more. And by that, I don't want to read his dumb comments. So let's go ahead and give away some game balls, man. As bad as it was, we're going to give away some game balls tonight. I'm split between two guys on defense. But I'm going to go ahead and give the game ball to Trent McDuffie.
Okay.
I think Trent McDuffie played well. There were a couple times where he might have let up a couple catches, but as far as his coverage, he was sticky. He made tackles. He was making great tackles. And then I kind of want to give it to Mike Dana.
Yeah, I'll give it to Dana. I'll give the game ball to Dana. I thought he looked good.
Right.
I thought he looked good. On offense, game ball. Oh my God.
Kadarius Tony, because he helped the Lions win a game.
I mean, on offense,
No,
I don't know who gets the game ball. They all look pretty average. So
I think the game ball for the offense, you have to take it and find a toilet and throw it in there because it was a big piece of trash.
Flush it. If you can find one positive, I think Mahomes looked decent, the best he could. I mean,
yeah,
we'll see. I'm going to find out how good Mahomes looked. Was Mahomes holding on to the ball because he lost trust in his receivers? That's another thing I'm going to find out. So I'm going to go back and watch it. And we'll get back on here tomorrow. We'll do a more a podcast breakdown. We'll probably be raging a little bit.
I see a lot of people ask, like, Amir Smith-Marset. I promise you, that guy wouldn't have done you any good tonight.
If he couldn't make the roster, he wasn't going to even be on.
Right. I mean, if these other guys couldn't get open that are better than him, he wasn't getting open either. I mean, because you'd think he was actually playing an NFL first-string team. It wasn't going to be their fourth-string. So I doubt he would have even been open, to be honest. I feel like it was a lot. It maybe not like there's a little bit on the receivers because it's their job. At the same time, route tree was bland. Yeah. Like the play calling was bland.
I think it was routes.
I think when they get in the red zone, they really need to start looking at Justin Ross and Rashee Rice a little bit more. These bigger guys try to, it was funny because like Mike even mentioned, like if you don't have Kelsey, just make some more packages for Justin Ross. They gave him no time tonight, really.
I'm gonna find his stats. By the way,
I'd be interested to know how many snaps he even had.
Look, they didn't know that Kelsey wasn't going to go till 3 days ago, right? So they had to. They've probably been game planning for months, and now they had to come out and try to do some stuff at the last minute. So even the offense being stale, maybe just Kelsey being out kind of threw a wrench in that too, and they couldn't get it together.
The only way I can see that happening is if they were worried, or if they were game planning on him getting double teamed a lot, because I feel like otherwise you could have just went out and had Noah Gray play the part and been fine. But I mean, like I said, Noah Gray's not going to garner any double teams, not going to get the extra attention Kelsey gets. Right. So it is what it is. None of their receivers were impressive tonight, Savage Child. Not just Sky Moore. None of them were. Absolutely none of them. I think he's the least of our worries as far as receivers go. Kadarius Tony definitely made you think, like, man, what's up with this guy? Like, what the hell's going on here? More than likely, he just wasn't ready to go. Didn't play any during the offseason at training camp or the preseason. So that's going to be my guess with him. Sky Moore, they need to look at different ways to get him the ball. And, Rashee Rice played decent, I think. Yeah, he did have one drop that I know of, and he had the drop problems in the preseason. But he's a young guy. I'm not too worried about that. MVS made a couple good plays, but I do feel like for as fast as he is and as big as he is,
look, Rashee Rice only had 3 catches for 29 yards.
yeah,
One of them just happened to be a touchdown.
Right.
So, but I mean, nobody was that good. McKinnon had 1 catch for 10 yards. Richie James, 1 catch, 6 yards. Justin Ross, 1 catch, 6 yards. Kadarius Tony, 1 catch, 1 yard. That had to be on the little end around. They probably called that a catch, didn't they? I don't know.
right.
We'll see.
David, there is no plan B to Kelsey. You saw that tonight. Well, that's what we've been saying. That's why we wanted a better receiver in here. We wanted a proven receiver because we're like, what if there is no Kelsey? There's nobody else. That's just all there is to it. Kelsey's a very integral part
There's
of this
no
offense.
one else but Kelsey.
But yeah, dropped passes was the name of the game tonight. That's kind of what got everybody. I mean, hats off to Detroit for playing a good game, but honestly, the fact that they played as well as they did, the Chiefs played as bad as they did without Travis Kelce and without Chris Jones on the field, and the fact that all the receivers went crazy and couldn't catch the ball and still had the game in hand and ended up losing by 1. If I was a Lions fan, I wouldn't be too excited because that's kind of sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else is sad is the leading receiver in receptions tonight was Pacheco. 4. Like, nobody could get open. I'm telling you, it had to be a scheme. It had to be a play calling thing. I'm going to go back and find it. It has to be.
Right. Oh, yeah. If they didn't have the drops, they would have won the game. Obviously, Kadarius Tony wouldn't have dropped the ball ever the whole game. That's 7 points off the board for the Lions, 7 points on the board for the Chiefs. So that game becomes a comfortable win as opposed to a 1-point loss.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Lions were actually as good as they played, they only scored 14 freaking points, dude.
Right.
So that's pretty sad, to be honest. So, I mean, if I was a Lions fan, I definitely wouldn't be trolling. I wouldn't be too happy. Like, enjoy it because you're not going to get these kinds of wins often as a Lions fan. But you also have to take a step back and look at it with a little perspective here. You beat a beat-up team that was hobbling around basically on one leg and couldn't catch a ball. So,
right. Mark says there was holding on every down. The left tackle lined up illegally. That's not true. That was the right tackle, bro. And false starting every snap that wasn't called.
That's not a false start.
They're not. Go back, watch Lane Johnson. The one he did false start, he got called for it. So they were on it.
Yeah.
They were watching it.
Yeah.
And by the way, his helmet has to be at the center's waist. He was lined up correctly the whole time. So you guys got your dub.
If the Lions think that Jamison Williams and Emmanuel Mosley is as big of a loss as Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, Mark, you need to reevaluate some things in your life.
You got the win.
Good luck trying to win a bad division.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
Still, you got the win. There's no need to be a horse's ass about it. Like,
yeah,
you're making yourself look stupid.
Go do it somewhere else.
Job. And he's out.
And you're gone.
And he's gone. I mean, you just don't know football.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the game tonight objectively, even if you're a Lions fan, you had to be like, dang, man, the Chiefs are really that much better than the Lions, that they played that bad. That many things went wrong. That many things went wrong. They didn't have their 2 best players playing besides Mahomes.
And you got a 1-point win and you're this celebrating. Good Lord.
Ouch. Mark, take that one to bed with you, buddy. Good grief. Hey, you have a good nobody's home tonight because you won the game. But then after that, you got to get back to reality and realize you got a gift from God.
Wake up. Wake up.
Wake up, baby. You ain't even going to win your division, and they're not good.
The Giants won the trade, says Lex Luger. Hey, man, are you still wrestling?
I hope.
Like, I'm curious.
Mr. Perfect. No, it's 2 different guys.
Lex Luger was Lex Luger.
That's Kurt Hennig. Lex Luger was Lex Luger.
I think Lex Luger died, sadly.
Probably all of them guys,
Rest
man.
in peace,
We're old now.
But, yeah, the Giants won the trade. I don't know. It's only a 3rd-round pick.
Oh, good Lord. This guy's still going. H4, go hang out with Mark. The Lions suck, bro. Like, I'm sorry.
H4's a Lions fan.
I don't care. He gone. Yeah, I mean, seriously, nothing to be proud of if you're the Lions, really. I mean, they be happy you won, but that's about it. They're not worried about the Lions. I'd say they'll probably be watching the Chiefs play in the playoffs at the end of the season. So,
Sherry, the defense is trash? Huh?
Sherry, I don't know if you watched the same game we did.
Yeah. I don't
Sweetheart.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, the defense looked pretty good tonight. I don't know.
The defense allowed 14 points. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs should beat every team on this planet if they only score 14 points.
Right.
So, yep.
Whatever.
Kadarius Tony, damn well better have a good comeback game. I want to see how he bounces back because let me tell you something. That's got to be a freaking ego bruiser right there, bro. Like, he has to know he was trash.
Oh, yeah.
That's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
Dude, I wouldn't leave the house for a week. I would try to stay to myself if I played as bad as Kadarius Tony.
Man, Giants fans are going to absolutely rake him this week.
Oh, yeah. He's going to get hacked on Twitter a few times.
Yeah, the 4th and 25 call was wild. It's crazy they decided to go for that. Pretty wild. But, yeah.
Hey, Nick Wright. Look, Nick Wright says crazy stuff, but you guys feed into it. Like we'll try to be real and everybody says we're crazy. Nick Wright says they go 20-0 and everybody's like, did y'all see Nick Wright? He's awesome. No, Nick Wright's an idiot sometimes.
Big Cheddar, please explain how we're sore losers. We've literally just been saying, like, congrats to the Lions. Hats off to the Lions. They played a really good game. But it's just a fact that they played a really good game, and the Chiefs, without their two best players besides Mahomes, played a very abysmal game, and they still should have won the game if Kadarius Tony didn't hand you guys 7 points.
Right.
And drop a ball where he was wide open.
Not sore losers. You guys are sore winners.
Just reality, man. It's reality. Like, you can be happy that you won the game, but you have to still be real. Like, Lions aren't world beaters, buddy.
Yeah.
They scored a whole 14 points on a defense without Chris Jones on it and a bunch of second-year players. So,
yeah,
nothing to be proud of. I guarantee you, if the Chiefs matched up with the Lions later this year, it would be probably a good blowout.
Yeah, more than likely. Oh well, we'll see.
Lions fans, go burn your city down.
The 4th and 25 Nagy. I don't know if Nagy. Man, I don't know what that 4th and 25 was, but to be honest, I think
had to be Reed. Reed makes that call ultimately.
Yeah, he's making the call.
Yeah.
Why don't you just kind of punt it though, and maybe try to pin him, and maybe he botches the catch, or you got 3 timeouts. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey,
seems weird.
Courage, man. Lions fans haven't had much to cheer for over the years, so we'll let them have this one. They just gotta quit being Bengals about it and be a little more graceful.
Yeah. Man, when you don't win big games, and this is the first taste of success, everybody acts like this. Like, dude, it's the Bengals all over again. They might be the Bengals of the NFC, actually.
Might be because they're like younger.
They're the younger on the come up, and they don't know how success because they've been horrible forever.
Yeah, and they'll stall. They'll stall out.
They'll stall.
I don't think Dan Campbell's a good coach. I think he actually coached pretty bad. The fact that, like you said earlier, Mike, he was out there playing Madden ball, going for it on 4th on their side of the
second drive of the season.
Like, that's how you know they were desperate. They knew if they didn't do desperate things and get lucky, they weren't winning the game.
Right.
And it just happened to work out in their favor. So, just is what it is. But they are the Bengals of the NFC.
Yep.
Good call.
Everybody to like.
Good call. Good call. Go ahead and get your last questions. And if you guys got any questions, go ahead and throw those in. But yeah, we're going to be doing a full podcast. Probably tomorrow we'll drop that. Probably Monday. We'll drop that. You guys can check that out. We'll give a good in-depth. We're going to watch the all 22 tape and try to dig in and see what the actual problems were with this offense, because they were pretty stank tonight. So we want to see where the disconnect was. Was it play calling? Was it the receivers just stink? Was it how bad was Mahomes actually on his accuracy, because it didn't look all that great? I mean, the one thing we do know without watching tape is Kadarius Tony fumbled the bag here, right?
He stunk.
Like he was trash. But yeah, William, Smith, Marset, Sancho, good God. Okay, yeah, definitely the Bengals, the NFC. I see.
Motor City says it. He said every fan base has children. He's calling you a child. Your own fans are calling you child. Like, so get over it. Motor City, good game, brother. Like, everybody has good games, bad games. Like, this is a 1-point win, first game of the season. Like, I don't think we should be over celebrating that win. If the Chiefs had won this game, I'm saying the same thing that I'm going to say if we lost the game.
I said that earlier.
Because we sucked tonight, and we didn't even deserve to win. But again, it's 1 point. Like, let's not go to Disneyland just yet. Let's chill out. Let's play the rest of the year. But yeah, good game. And we'll be back on I guess we'll do the full pod on Monday. We'll throw it out. So podcast on iTunes, podcast on wherever you listen to it, Spotify. And then we'll be back on YouTube, on Monday too. So we'll hit that up, man. It'll be good. We'll watch the all 22 and we'll try to get to the bottom of it. Was it a play calling thing? Was it the receivers? Was it a combination? Was it the offensive line? Was it just God humbling our fan base? We never know. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. But do us a favor, hit that like button on the way out if you haven't hit it yet. That'll help us out. Be on the lookout for the podcast drop. We'll probably have some shorts and stuff out tomorrow for you guys in the meantime. But we appreciate you. Sucks we had to start the season that way, watching the Chiefs not be the Chiefs and just kind of suck.
With an L.
And get an L to a team that they had no business losing to. But it is what it is. You 4 Lions fans that just have won your Super Bowl, enjoy it. And we'll see how the rest of the season works out. But yeah, you guys have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we missed
Call
this.
me El Travidor.
We need you, Travidor. Come by.
We need you, Travidor.
See you guys.
There goes a sight from my soul.